Are you ready to have your Thanksgiving meal yet? With the fourth Thursday of November just around the corner, perhaps you're already excited for turkey, potatoes, corn, and cranberries to fill your dinner table. But what may come to you as a surprise is that this joyful celebration actually has a dark origin. How is that possible? Let's find out. Hi there! Welcome to our channel. Today we'll discover one more of the popular holiday's dark origins. Thanksgiving, which is an annual holiday in the United States and Canada, is known to be the holiday dedicated to celebrating the harvest and other blessings of the past year. But what many don't know is that Thanksgiving, just like Halloween, has its own dark origins. What could this possibly be? Before we begin, why don't you tell us first below, what are your favorite Thanksgiving traditions? Put them in the comments below. Now let's get to know Thanksgiving in full detail. Thanksgiving Day is an annual national holiday in the United States and Canada that commemorates the harvest and blessings of the past year. It is widely believed to have been inspired by a 1621 feast shared by English colonists or pilgrims of Plymouth and the Wampanoag people. This holiday is steeped in legend and symbolism, and the traditional Thanksgiving meal usually features turkey, stuffing, potatoes, cranberries, and pumpkin pie. It is also a time when families come together, making it one of the busiest days for vehicular travel. For over 2 centuries, individual colonies and states observed days of Thanksgiving. But it wasn't until 1863, during the Civil War, that President Abraham Lincoln officially declared a national Thanksgiving Day to be celebrated every November. How did Thanksgiving exactly start at Plymouth? In September 1620, a small vessel named the Mayflower departed from Plymouth, England, carrying 102 passengers. Among them were religious separatists, seeking religious freedom, and others enticed by the prospect of prosperity and land ownership in the New World. After a challenging and uncomfortable 66-day journey, they arrived near Cape Cod, much farther north than their planned destination at the mouth of the Hudson River. A month later, the Mayflower sailed across Massachusetts Bay, and the group, now known as the Pilgrims, started building a village in Plymouth. During the harsh first winter, most of the colonists remained aboard the Mayflower, enduring exposure, scurvy, and contagious diseases. Only half of the ship's original passengers and crew survived until the arrival of the New England spring. In March, the remaining settlers moved ashore and received a surprising visit from a member of the Abenaki tribe who spoke English. A few days later, he returned with another Native American, Squanto, from the Pawtuxet tribe. Squanto had been captured by an English sea captain, sold into slavery, escaped to London, and then returned to his homeland during an exploratory expedition. Squanto taught the weakened Pilgrims how to grow corn, extract sap from maple trees, fish in rivers, and identify edible plants, helping them survive. He also facilitated an alliance between the settlers and the Wampanoag, a local tribe, which lasted for over 50 years and stands as a rare example of harmony between European colonists and Native Americans. In November 1621, after a successful corn harvest, Governor William Bradford organized a celebratory feast. He invited their Native American allies, including Wampanoag Chief Massasoit, to join them. Although the term Thanksgiving might not have been used by the Pilgrims at the time, this event is now remembered as America's first Thanksgiving. The festival, which lasted for 3 days, marked a cooperative and festive occasion. While the exact menu is not recorded, much of what we know about this event comes from Pilgrim chronicler Edward Winslow. In 1623, the Pilgrims held their second Thanksgiving celebration to mark the end of a prolonged drought that had posed a threat to the year's harvest. This drought led Governor Bradford to declare a religious fast. The practice of observing days of fasting and Thanksgiving, either annually or occasionally, became common in other New England settlements as well. During the American Revolution, the Continental Congress established 1 or more days of Thanksgiving each year. In 1789, George Washington issued the first Thanksgiving Proclamation by the national government of the United States. In this proclamation, he urged Americans to express their gratitude for the successful conclusion of the country's War of Independence and the ratification of the U.S. Constitution. In 1827, Sarah Josepha Hale, a well-known magazine editor and prolific writer who authored the nursery rhyme, "Mary Had a Little Lamb," embarked on a campaign to establish Thanksgiving as a national holiday. Over 36 years, she wrote numerous editorials and letters to governors, senators, presidents, and other politicians, earning her the nickname Mother of Thanksgiving. Abraham Lincoln finally granted her request in 1863 during the height of the Civil War. In his proclamation, he urged all Americans to pray for those affected by the war and to heal the nation's wounds. Lincoln designated Thanksgiving to be observed on the final Thursday in November, and it remained on that day every year until 1939. In an effort to boost retail sales during the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt moved the holiday up a week, a plan sarcastically dubbed Franksgiving. However, this decision faced strong opposition, leading to the president signing a bill in 1941 that officially set Thanksgiving as the fourth Thursday in November. Before we finally reveal the dark story behind Thanksgiving, do you have any guesses as to what the dark origin of the holiday probably is? Tell us in the comments below. Now let's unpack Thanksgiving's dark origin. As it turns out, the simplified narrative taught in schools depicting the first Thanksgiving as a peaceful harvest gathering between native people and pilgrims was criticized as a romanticized and sanitized version of indigenous history, according to Jordan Daniel, a member of the Lower Brule Sioux tribe. In truth, 1621 was not the initial Thanksgiving celebration between the English and the Wampanoag people, clarified David Silverman, a George Washington University professor specializing in Native American history. The Wampanoag sought an alliance with the English for trade and to maintain political independence from another native group after their population declined due to an epidemic. To further explain, in 1620, a Wampanoag leader named Massasoit brokered a treaty between the Plymouth settlers and the Wampanoag tribe. This agreement stipulated that neither group would harm members of the other, and they pledged not to carry weapons when trading to promote peaceful commerce. For approximately a decade, Massasoit and the Pilgrims maintained their alliance, exchanging English goods for Wampanoag land, access to natural resources, and other benefits. However, tensions arose after Massasoit's death in 1661, and his son Wamsuta assumed leadership. Between 1630 and 1642, a significant influx of 25,000 European colonizers arrived, while a devastating plague decimated the native population by more than half. Wamsuta himself died under mysterious circumstances in 1662 while discussing growing unrest between the two groups with the Puritans, as reported by Atlas Obscura. His successor, Metacomet, only exacerbated the existing tensions. In 1675, 3 native individuals were executed for killing a translator who worked with the settlers, deepening the mistrust between the two groups. Metacomet, concerned about the loss of native lands to the newcomers, formed a coalition of various native tribes to defend their resources. By the fall of 1675, coalition members began clashing with settlers, launching attacks on communities in Connecticut and Massachusetts. Initially, the Narragansett tribe aimed to stay neutral but offered refuge to Wampanoag people in their camp. They also provided shelter to women, children, and elderly or infirm individuals from the Wampanoag tribe seeking safety from the conflict. Consequently, the Puritans assaulted the Narragansett stronghold, resulting in a brutal battle and its aftermath that led to the deaths of approximately 600 native individuals and about 150 settlers. Following the events, a conflict known as King Philip's War erupted, named after Metacomet's English alias. This series of conflicts profoundly affected both native tribes and the colonies. Wampanoag tribes captured settlers and demanded ransom, while settlers raided and destroyed native villages. Large parts of the colonies were burned and plundered, taking decades to fully recover. According to an article in the Historical Journal of Massachusetts, the war might have resulted in the loss of up to 30% of the English population and half of the Native Americans residing in what is now New England. The war officially concluded with the death of Metacomet, who was beheaded and dismembered, as reported by It Happened in Rhode Island. His remaining allies were either executed or sold into slavery in the West Indies. The colonists mounted King Philip's head on a spike and displayed it in Plymouth for 25 years, serving as a grim symbol of the conflict. King Philip's War was not the final nor the only conflict between native peoples and the colonizers. Additional battles occurred in Virginia, Connecticut, New York, and other places, and the Native American population has never fully recovered. For this reason, Native Americans and their supporters have gathered at noon on Thanksgiving Day at Coles Hill in Plymouth since 1970 to observe a national day of mourning. Participants in this event pay tribute to Native ancestors and recognize the enduring struggles of Native and Indigenous peoples to survive in the present day. This day serves as a solemn occasion for remembrance, spiritual connection, and protest against the racism, genocide, and oppression faced by Native Americans, both historically and in the contemporary context. As you enjoy your Thanksgiving meal this year, take a moment to consider the Native people and remember the true history of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving remains a source of controversy for some even today. For these individuals, the historical atrocities against Native Americans did not end with the diseases or massacres of the past. As a result, witnessing the celebration of the positive Thanksgiving narrative can be deeply frustrating and painful, especially for Indigenous people. What are your thoughts now, after knowing the dark history of Thanksgiving? Do you think that people who celebrate this holiday should rethink spending it in a merry way? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked watching this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching.